Dear students, today we are going to learn about natural resources. What is meant by natural resources? Human needs can be satisfied partially or completely through resources. There are thousands of elements in the nature, but we cannot call them all as resources. These elements can be called resources only when these are utilized by man through his special knowledge and expertise. The things on which the man is dependent, human needs can be fulfilled by them, and man has the physical and intellectual capacity to utilize them, can be called as resources. In this way, anything which is used to fulfill human needs became a resource. In ancient times, man did not know about minerals buried within the land, but with the passage of time, due to the development of modern technology, he is aware of these minerals, and man can use these minerals because of its utility and the developed techniques of mining. In short, we can say that the resources are the things on which the man is dependent, human needs can be fulfilled by them, and has the physical and intellectual capacity to utilize them. The natural resources have both the virtue of utility and capacity to work. The resources are made of the interaction of the three things: nature, man, and culture. Now we can learn the uses of resources. Resources are useful to us in many ways. All activities from agriculture to industries ultimately depend on natural resources. Resources as food, resources as energy resources, resources as a source of raw material, resources as food. Various food requirements of man are satisfied by various resources. We can see different examples: fruits grown naturally, various crops obtained through agriculture, milk and its products, and meat obtained through domestic animals, fish and other aquatic animals from reservoirs, honey from honeybee, etc., are used as food items. Resources as a source of raw material. Various goods got from forest, agro products, wool, hides, and meat available from animals, mineral ores, etc., form the raw material for many industries. For example, for making cloth, cotton is needed. This cotton is also available from nature. Resources as energy resources. We use coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc., and all these are used as fuel both in industries as well as for domestic use. In addition to this, energy can be generated through solar insolation, wind, sea waves, tides, edible tides and ebbs, and waterfalls, etc. Now we can learn about the various types of resources. Resources can be classified on the basis of three things. First one, on the basis of ownership. Second one, on the basis of re-availability. Third one, on the basis of distribution centers. Resources on the basis of ownership. On the basis of ownership, resources can be classified into individual resources, national resources, and global resources. Individual resources are the resources which are owned by either individual or a family. For example, land, building, books, house, etc. belong to this category. Second one, national resources. These resources are owned by a country or a region. Example, army, international trade, etc. Third one, global resources. All physical or non-physical resources which are used for human welfare. Resources of common ownership of all nations of the world. These resources used by all nations. For example, United Nations Organization. Now, resources are classified according to the distribution area. On the basis of distribution area, resources are classified into four types: universal resources, generally available resources, rare resources, solitary resources. Universal resources, the resources which can be useful gases in the atmosphere. Example, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. Second one, resources which are generally available. These resources are easily available in nature. For example, land, soil, water, etc. Third one, rare resources. These resources are available at limited places. For example, minerals like coal, petroleum, copper, gold, uranium, etc. Fourth one, solitary resources. The resources available only at one or two places. Example, cryolite. Cryolite is found only in Greenland. Resources are classified on the basis of re-availability. On the basis of re-availability, resources can be classified into two types: renewable and non-renewable resources. The resources reproduce themselves as per their usage during a specific time. In other words, these are inexhaustible. So these resources, otherwise known as inexhaustible resources. Example, solar insolation, wind, birds, animals, bioreserves, etc. come under this category. These are called renewable resources. So the other name of renewable resource is inexhaustible resources. Next is non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are those which cannot be reused once they are used, or they cannot be reproduced, or they cannot be regenerated, they cannot be reformed in near future. For example, minerals, coal, natural gas, petroleum, etc. included in this category. These are the two divisions of resources on the basis of re-availability. Now we can learn planning and conservation of resources. Why we have to plan and conserve resources? There are different reasons for this. First one, human needs are unlimited, but the resources are limited. So we have to utilize these resources in such a way that our needs should be fulfilled. Second one, resources should be conserved and used rationally. If we didn't use the resources in a scientific and rational way, there is nothing left for future generation. So it is the duty of all to conserve resources for the future generation. During last 100 years, the age of resources has increased very much due to the extraordinary development in science and technology and due to population explosion. Because of this, the resources are used in an increased way. So, it is the duty of all of us to conserve resources for the future generations. Resources should be conserved and should be used rationally. Now, what is meant by conservation? Conservation means when there is a danger of existence on the life of a tree or a human life, the arrangement made for it is called its conservation. What are the things we must take into consideration while we are planning and conservation of resources? First of all, we should gather all information regarding the availability of utilized, unutilized, and probable resources of any region or a country or a unit. Second one, the resources which are limited or non-renewable, they should be exploited in a scientific way. Third one, we should make attempts to develop those resources, the quantity of which can be increased. The resources which are easily available should not be wasted, but it should be used in such a way that it should be useful for future generations. The resources which are in limited quantity, it should be conserved and find the alternative option through technical development is favorable in long term. For example, instead of using wood as a domestic fuel, we will find out the other alternative uses. Necessary laws should be formed for the conservation of resources, and these laws should be enforced strictly. Last point, citizens should be acquainted with all facts related to the rational usage of resources, and public awareness should be cultivated. In such a way, we can plan for the conservation of resources. Now we learn about soil formation. What is soil? The part of the surface of the earth wherein the vegetation grows is known as soil. It is the general term we used. Soil is a thin layer composed of various elements on the surface of the earth. Minerals, humidity, humus, and air, all these are mixed up in the soil. The parental rods lie below the soil. Soil is formed due to the material available through the denudation. Biotic remnants, humidity, and air get mixed up with it. Thus, we can say that soil is a natural mixture of minerals and biotic elements which have the capacity to grow and develop vegetation. This is the diagrammatic representation of land formation. In that, climate plays an important role. The climate determines the rate of weathering and the type of vegetation. Slope of the land decides the accumulation of soils. Time provides maturity to the soil. Thus, the formation of soil is a very slow process. Now we can learn about the denudation. What is denudation? Denudation is the process of breaking and removing the rocks from the surface of the earth. There are different factors for the denudation. These factors prepares a thin layer through the denudation of rocks. The factors are climate, relief, and time. These are the factors helpful for denudation. Now, what are the factors for the soil formation? There are 5 major factors for soil formation: time, climate, parental material, topography, and relief, organism. The climate impact in the denudation of the soil formation is so important and widespread that the soil formed of different types of rocks in that region over a long time is the same. So the soil formed out of the same parental rocks under different climatic influence is different. Soils are classified on the basis of their color, climate, parental rocks, structure, humus, etc. Now, the types of soil. The full form of ICAR is Indian Council of Agricultural Research. ICAR has divided the soils of India into 8 types: alluvial soil, red soil, black soil, laterite soil, desert soil, mountain soil, forest soil, and marshy soil. These are the different types of soil found in India. Thank you.